Once upon a time, in a peaceful suburban neighborhood, life was pretty ordinary for the Harris family. Jack and Lisa lived in their cozy two-story house with their 16-year-old daughter, Zoey. The Harris family was like any other. They had their routine, their little quirks, and shared inside jokes that only made sense to them. Zoey was a bright girl, creative and thoughtful, a teenager with a zest for life and a deep sense of privacy. However, things began to shift for the Harris family when the unexpected happened. Lisa's brother Sammy faced a tough blow. He had gone through a tumultuous divorce that left him and his 18-year-old twin daughters, Olivia and Sloane, without a home. Despite the emotional turmoil, Sammy held on to the hope that family would come through. And so it was that Jack and Lisa opened their doors to Sammy and the twins, welcoming them into their home with open arms. When they first moved in, the house felt more alive, as if energized by the collective voices and personalities now under one roof. At first, everyone adjusted well enough, navigating the newfound busy household and trying to make it work. Yet underneath the surface, tiny fissures began to form. For Zoey, the transition wasn't particularly easy. She and her cousins, Olivia and Sloane, were never especially close. They saw each other during family gatherings and exchanged polite conversations, but they ran in different circles and had very different interests. Despite this, Zoey tried her best to be welcoming, hoping that perhaps they'd grow closer with time. However, Olivia and Sloane had different ideas. They were energetic, outgoing, and seemed to be constantly buzzing with teenage exuberance. Yet, when it came to respecting Zoey's personal space and belongings, their enthusiasm turned into a problem. They often brushed aside Zoey's boundaries, seeing no problem with borrowing, and sometimes keeping, her things without bothering to ask. Zoey's room was her sanctuary, her oasis of calm amidst the chaotic whirlwinds of high school and teenage life. But soon it felt more like a communal space with her cousins coming in and out at will, taking items, her favorite sweater here, some makeup there, like unwilling offerings to a demanding deity. Despite her frustration, Zoey tried to handle it diplomatically. She approached Olivia and Sloane, asking them to knock before entering and to please ask before borrowing her things. While they nodded and promised to be more considerate, their actions didn't change much, if at all. And so, Zoey turned to her parents. "Mom, Dad, I really need your help. Olivia and Sloane keep taking my things without asking. It's stressing me out," Zoey pleaded one evening at dinner. Lisa listened sympathetically, but she couldn't help her brother's situation. She wanted to help Sammy by making him feel at home, and didn't see the harm in the girls sharing things. "Zoey, sweetie, it's just what girls do. They borrow each other's things. Maybe it's their way of feeling closer to you," Lisa suggested gently, though she silently hoped the arrangement would be temporary. Jack, however, saw things through a different lens. He valued Zoey's independence and privacy, and found it bothersome that her space was constantly being invaded. He promised Zoey he'd talk to Sammy privately. Jack approached Sammy over coffee one morning, raising the issue with as much tact as he could muster. "Hey, Sammy, I know it's been tough, and we're here for you, man. But Zoey's been having some issues with the girls taking her stuff. Could you talk to them?" Sammy was dismissive, waving it off with a laugh. "Jack, they're just teenagers. It's what girls do. Olivia and Sloane have always shared with their friends, and they see Zoey as another sister. Trust me, it's normal." Jack frowned but decided not to push the matter further, hoping that things would improve naturally. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be the case. The final straw came when Zoey purchased a makeup kit she had saved for over a month to buy. It was a high-quality, expensive set, one she had long admired, but her joy of saving and spending on something she valued was short-lived. One of the twins, Sloane, borrowed it without asking and returned it nearly destroyed. The carefully crafted shades were smeared and mixed, rendering the kit nearly useless, except for a few remnants of color. Seeing her cherished kit in ruins, Zoey broke down. Upset and heartbroken, she turned again to her parents, tears streaming down her face as she recounted the incident. It was at that moment Jack decided enough was enough. Feeling protective and unwilling to see his daughter become a stranger in her own room, he installed a lock on Zoey's bedroom door the very next day. The lock was a simple mechanism, not heavily fortified, but it symbolized a boundary, a line drawn in the sand. Zoey was grateful, thankful her father valued her need for privacy. When Olivia and Sloane discovered the new addition, they were less than pleased. They complained loudly, their voices carrying through the house. "How rude of her! We're family! We've never needed locks!" Olivia declared, feeling wronged. Sloane nodded in agreement, equally vexed by what they saw as a personal slight. Sammy was incredulous. He approached Jack, bewildered and a bit insulted. "A lock, Jack? Come on, my daughters aren't thieves, it's just stuff. Zoey can get another makeup kit, one for a lot less. This is just enabling her. She needs to learn to share." Jack sighed, choosing his words carefully. "Sammy, I understand where you're coming from, but Zoey has a right to her privacy, just like your girls do. This lock is for her peace of mind. Besides, it's not about the makeup, it's about respect." Lisa found herself caught in the middle, deeply empathetic to both sides, but she also felt a responsibility to her brother. "Jack, maybe this wasn't the best way to handle it. The lock sends the wrong message. We're a family. We should be teaching them to get along, not to shut each other out." Hurt and a little angry, she asked Jack to remove the lock, feeling it was driving a wedge between them. But Jack held firm. "Lisa, I agreed to take your brother and the girls in when no one else would. I don't want to kick them out, but Zoey's peace of mind has to come first." This caused a rift in the household. Tensions simmered, and silent treatments were exchanged more frequently than words. Zoey, although grateful for her room's newfound security, found herself more isolated, not just from her cousins, but, at times, from her own mother. Yet slowly, as things sometimes do, moments of clarity emerged from the chaos. One day, while sitting by herself in the living room, Lisa realized how distant they'd all become. The family dinners were silent, with everyone absorbed in their own thoughts, the air heavy with unspoken words. Taking a deep breath, Lisa approached Zoey, who was curled up on the couch with a book. "Zoe," she started softly, "I'm sorry. I didn't understand how much this was affecting you." Her voice was tender, motherly. "I miss us, Mom," Zoey replied, her eyes tearing up. "I miss feeling like a family." Hugging her daughter tight, Lisa promised to communicate better and to address the situation properly. She realized that it wasn't just about the lock or the makeup. It was about creating a space where everyone felt safe. Together, they decided to have a family meeting, something they hadn't done since Sammy moved in. It was tense at first, but Lisa guided the conversation toward understanding. Everyone had a voice, a chance to express their feelings and frustrations. Olivia and Sloane eventually admitted that they didn't mean to make Zoey uncomfortable. "We just thought she was cool and wanted to be closer," Olivia confessed. Zoey explained her perspective, emphasizing her need for privacy, and Sammy listened seriously, nodding along. By the end of the meeting, there were no grand declarations or promises, but there was a mutual sense of respect, a tentative agreement to do better moving forward. The Harris household slowly began to mend itself, stitching together the wounds with newfound understanding and compromise. And while the lock on Zoey's door stayed, it no longer represented division, but a reminder that every person deserved their space, their peace, a lesson learned as much about family as it was about boundaries.